Gypsy Rose is out here collecting excuses like they're Pokemon cards. And this week's rare find? Postpartum depression. After last night's Life After Lockup episode aired, viewers watched in disbelief as Gypsy emotionally reconnected with her ex-husband, Ryan Anderson, behind Ken Urker's back. But before the credits even finished rolling, Gypsy had already hit TikTok with a heartfelt little message: postpartum depression awareness. You are not alone, and you are doing a good job. Sweet sentiment, sure, but is it also the soft launch of her next scapegoat? Because let's be real, the timing is convenient. You cheat on your current man by emotionally cozying up with your ex, get dragged on national TV for it, and then suddenly you're the face of postpartum mental health.
Is Gypsy Rose now saying she has postpartum depression? Gypsy Rose posted this. As you can see, it's an AI overview of what postpartum depression is. And it's captioned, Postpartum Depression Awareness. You are not alone, and you are doing a good job. Thank you for watching my journey in tonight's episode. So to me, she's alluding to or hinting that she has postpartum depression, which she's been adamant she doesn't have. She did say she has postpartum anxiety. GRB did make sure to make it clear that she was postpartum and distant from Ken, and that's why she reached out to Ryan, possibly having an emotional affair.
That's wild. The episode laid it all out. Gypsy was full-on gaslighting Ken, denying any real motive for messaging Ryan, and now she's trying to pivot the conversation entirely. Not even a full day later, she's repackaging the drama as some vulnerable healing journey. Classic. And this isn't her first get-out-of-jail-free card, literally or figuratively. The original pass was Munchausen by proxy. Then it was abuse, then it was hormones, now it's postpartum.
I do want to point out that when GRB spreads awareness, it's usually after some kind of drama or a spiral. For example, when all the Ryan and Ken drama happened last year, where she left Ryan for Ken and became pregnant shortly after, she posted this. Don't ask me to relive my trauma for your personal curiosity. Don't demand to know the answers to questions that have no relevance in your life. Don't expect me to have overcome my past on your time. Don't tell me about my mistakes and choices when I am who has to live with them on my conscience. Don't project what you want me to be because you find it more interesting. I am not a celebrity. I am a trauma survivor who is healing from emotional, mental, and medical ABUSE. I have shared my story in hopes it would educate about Munchausen by proxy and inspire other survivors, only to have my ABUSE be invalidated by content creators on social media who do not have any psychological education to back up their claims, despite multiple psychologists specializing in MBP, such as Dr. Mark Feldman, who interviewed for 2017 HBO's Mommy Unalived and Dearest after reviewing my medical records obtained for my case. He had high belief that my mother indeed had MBP. Don't ask me to advocate. I am healing.
It's like every time she's caught in some messy behavior, a new excuse magically appears to explain it away. Because, of course, if you're postpartum, it totally makes sense to start up an emotional affair with your ex-husband. That's in the postpartum handbook, right? Right next to buy baby clothes and blame your mess on mental health.
And then there was the Ice Bucket Challenge mental health awareness stunt. And that was during the Jazz Fest Spiral Gypsy versus Ryan disaster. GRB has certain patterns, and once you pay attention, you can pick up on them. This is GRB's pattern: deflection, excuses, and absolutely no accountability.
What's really grinding people's gears is that a gypsy never seems to take real accountability. It's always someone else's fault. She's misunderstood. She's emotional, she's healing. But at what point do we stop handing out sympathy and start demanding honesty? And let's not forget, didn't she already say she wasn't dealing with postpartum depression? Because the internet definitely remembers.
How am I feeling postpartum? Good, good. The first few days were a little overwhelming, but Ken was absolutely so supportive. I didn't have postpartum depression, but I did go through a little bit of postpartum anxiety, which I think is absolutely, normal for a first-time mom. You look at all the things that could go wrong and it kind of freaks you out. Even when you're in the car and you're like, oh my God, there's cars passing by. Like it's overwhelming a little bit. But I've adjusted, like my hormones have leveled out now. How's my postpartum going? Really good. I've been reading the baby books and just trying to be very much in the moment. I've always been one of those people that was always like, oh, thank you for the galaxy. I've always been kind of like, oh, what are we going to do next month or anything? And if there's one thing that I'm learning, it's when you have a newborn, it's hour to hour. But it's good. We're all really, really good right now.
Turns out, in that same exact live, Gypsy said something else that completely contradicts her new narrative. Because of course she did. It's just more proof of how seriously she takes her word. Which is to say, not at all. 1 minute she's saying one thing, the next she's doing a full 180 like we all forgot. At this point, keeping up with Gypsy's stories is like trying to track a moving target, blindfolded.
And I'm not trying to be an influencer anymore. Tried it on, didn't fit for me, so.
When someone directly confronted her about saying on live she didn't have PPD, Gypsy's defense was, because when I was going through it, I didn't see it. Classic. Heard that one before from every public figure caught in a lie, right? But she didn't stop there. She openly admitted to lying on her postpartum depression screening, claimed she wasn't suicidal when she actually was. Her exact words, said she never wanted to seem weak and only recognized her struggle later.
Guys, if you have not had time to sit down and read the FOIA documents that came out not too long ago about Gypsy Rose and Nick, you need to listen to this. It is very, very crazy. I have read a small portion of it. It's a lot of pages, so I haven't had time to go through all of it. But I came across a live stream with Nina, Ivy Rose Knows, and Crime Spree's Perspective or something. I'm going to tag them in this video and let you hear the clip of what they're talking about in his live panel, because it is wild. You are going to want to listen to this. It's really shocking, actually. I kind of knew some of it, but some of this stuff I did not know. So it's like, wow. He puts his perspective after reading these documents and words it perfectly and tells you exactly what you need to know. But yeah, y'all need to listen to this. It is kind of long. I will put captions. I will speed it up if I can. But yeah, please stay and listen, because this is crazy.
Full, control over her own medical decisions. So again, that's something, that's in the FOIA records that maybe her supporters know about, maybe they don't, or they don't care.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, 22 months. And it's almost 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years of her making her own medical decisions, no problem.
How convenient that this realization just happened to coincide with needing an excuse for her emotional affair. Now, let's pause right there. What kind of mother lies on a medical evaluation designed to protect both her and her baby? What kind of person treats postpartum depression like some badge of shame they're too good to wear?
Here she was saying that, oh, my mother had power of attorney over me. Remember, she said that her mother had guardianship. She couldn't sign her own papers. It was all for her mother did everything. That's not the truth. She was signing her own.
She was. And maybe when she was a minor, that might have been a different story. But no, as an adult, she was making her own medical decisions for almost 2 years before her mom was done away with.
Not even that. Everything she had, her teeth being pulled out, the feeding tube. And I'm going to tell you this. She did not have muscular dystrophy. However, I do believe that she needed that wheelchair at times. Why? Because she had a cervical spine lesion.
Yes,
Everyone
she
knows
did.
what a cervical spine lesion is. It can give you weakness. It can give you temporary paralysis. It can give you problems walking for distances. It can give you numbness. It can give you all kinds of things. And did you guys see that video of her at the mall with Ken the other day, walking in the street, and everyone's like, she's like, oh, I had blisters on my foot. No, that was your back. That was your hip. You couldn't walk straight. Again, the pregnancy and the postpartum period did nothing but exacerbate all of the symptoms she had when she was younger.
Newsflash, Gypsy. Refusing help doesn't make you strong. It makes you reckless. And let's be real, this wasn't about strength. This was the same pattern we've seen forever. Truth bends whenever Gypsy needs a new narrative. Remember when she sobbed through entire episodes about how hard motherhood was after fighting so viciously to have this baby? The same child she called her miracle? Funny how that everything I ever wanted turned into non-stop complaints the second it required actual work. But the most chilling moment came during that bizarre therapy session she filmed. Because what slipped out of her mouth during that confessional? That's when the mask really fell off.
All right, y'all, buckle up because Lifetime is giving us the full, unfiltered Gypsy Rose experience this season on Life After Lockup. And I gotta say, they're really letting her show her true colors. And you know what? I'm here for it. Because the more she exposes herself, the more we're seeing what we've all known deep down. She's a liar. She's a manipulator. Let's talk about how Lifetime is allowing her to destroy herself. All while they sit back and let the drama unfold. Now let's be real for a second. Lifetime could have easily edited Gypsy's segments to make her look more sympathetic. But instead, they've decided to showcase her worst behaviors. We're talking about all of it. Her constant lies, her manipulative games between Ken and Ryan. I mean, are we surprised? They are literally putting her on full display as a walking disaster. And I personally am thinking maybe Lifetime is just trolling her at this point.
Given Gypsy's track record, her long, messy history, the blatant contradictions, the manipulative patterns, and the straight-up unhinged behavior, what she said during that sit-down with her little in-home guru was chilling. And I don't mean dramatic reality TV chills, I mean actual deep-in-your-gut creepy.
Now let me ask you this. How does her family stand by her? Are they blind? Or do they all think we're all just in on some massive joke? She is literally playing with two men's lives, manipulating them for her own gain. And everybody's just sitting there, cheering her on. Go Gypsy! I mean, at this point, does her family even notice how her actions are completely toxic? They are supporting her horrible behavior while she keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. It's almost like they want to watch the train wreck happen too, but with popcorn, you know? And y'all, let's not forget about the manipulation tactics she's been using all season long. She's playing both Ryan and Ken, trying to keep them both around for some validation, like it's a game. But what's really funny is how obvious it is to everyone else that she's doing this. Like, Gypsy, we all see you. We ain't falling for it anymore. Her back and forth games with them are almost laughable at this point. Y'all, it's a mess. Ken's ready to walk away because he knows she's been stringing him along with Ryan on the back burner. And Ryan's just sitting there believing that she's going to come back to him because, well, that's how she's
It's hard not to feel uneasy when you hear someone with Gypsy's background speak with that kind of eerie calm, like she's trying to spiritualize the chaos she created. Now add that to the pile of disturbing behavior, like that shady Twitter post she made from the account she swore up and down wasn't hers. But come on, we all know it was. The one where she wrote, "Those who wish evil on my child," and basically tried to curse the haters with bad karma or whatever. It was giving full-on dark energy. Deny it all you want, Gypsy. Receipts don't lie. At this point, Ken, sweetie, you've got to get that baby out of there.
Making it seem. Y'all, when will any of them finally see the light? But y'all, here's the kicker. Thanks to Gypsy Rose's lack of self-control and Lifetime's decision to let us witness it all, the public is finally opening their eyes to who she really is. It's like she's been a ticking time bomb, and now the world is starting to see the truth. She is not some misunderstood victim. She is a manipulator who can't even handle her own emotions. And as much as she wants to play the victim, the cracks are starting to show. We are all seeing her for who she really is. Y'all, here's the thing. She will never change. This cycle is way too deeply ingrained. She has been playing this manipulation game for far too long. And guess what? Lifetime, this season, isn't doing her any favors by giving her a platform to continue the manipulation. Instead, they're just shining a massive spotlight on her toxic traits. And now the whole world is seeing it.
Again, he's told the truth since day one. His story's never wavered. He's never lied about a single thing, and that's why I'm like, why are they doing so dirty? Like, you know what I mean? He told the police, like, he did not give any frustration or made the police jobs hard whatsoever. He just handed everything right over, truth and nothing but the truth, and this is what they did to him in the end. I'm just like, this is just horrible.
That's exactly why Gypsy and the family don't want him out, is because they know that he has the ability to talk.
Enough is enough. I'm genuinely worried that if this continues, something terrible could happen. The signs are there, the red flags are flying, and the vibes are off. You don't need a therapist to tell you that. What makes it worse is that even in this episode, Gypsy still denied having postpartum issues. Like, what?
They don't want to single-handedly ruin this. Yes.
Yep, the longer he stays silent, the better. That's how they look at it. And they don't even bring him up in conversation, nothing. They're trying to, like just do away with the thought of him or existence of him altogether. There's a reason.
You would think it would be the opposite, considering the fact that I'm just saying, sorry. You would think that it would be the complete opposite, thinking that, you know, he saved your daughter, didn't he, Rod? Didn't he, Christy? Like, didn't he save her? Isn't he the hero in this entire story? Because if you go by the narrative, he saved her then. He stopped the abuse from...
We're back to that now. After the whole TikTok story and her dramatic monologue about how she didn't realize it until later? Nah. Cue the BS, because we've heard this song and dance before.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard claims she's broke, but the math ain't mathin' on that.
You know, I technically only have like $50 in my account. Here, $50 in my account being like, oh my God, am I going to have to, you know, ask my dad for money this month or something like this? Because if I had $1 million, I wouldn't be asking my dad for money.
Now first, Gypsy Rose is somebody who has been a part of multiple TV shows even while she was in jail, cashing a check, which led to her now, Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup on Lifetime with 2 seasons. But she has now recently claimed here on TikTok that she only has $50 in her account. And she is fearful that she has to ask her dad for money. Now, this makes no sense because of all the paid interviews and shows and even the book deal she got.
It's honestly mind-blowing how Gypsy's brain works. Like, she's mastered the art of never taking accountability for anything. Oh, I murdered my mom? Well, that was Munchausen by proxy. Cheated on my man with my ex-husband? That's postpartum depression, apparently. Every move she makes is followed by an excuse. She's got a full menu of them on standby. And the wildest part, it's never her fault.
In addition to that, what exactly are her expenses given that she lives with her dad and stepmom? Now, I've got a source who is giving me some information on Gypsy and Ken's relationship. And this source says that Gypsy is paying for the majority of the lifestyle because Ken, while he works, has a very poorly paid job, which I'll have some more details to reveal on that very soon. But as for Gypsy Rose alleging she only has $50 in her account, literally makes 0 cents. Gypsy Rose likely made more than $50 while she was sitting on this live panel talking about how she only had $50. Let me know what you think about this in the comments and make sure to drop a follow for more.
Ever. There's always a reason, always a deflection, and at this point the entire internet sees right through it. But what really sends me is how Lifetime TV enables the madness. Like, they'll slap on some emotional music, show a few sad-eyed close-ups of Gypsy holding a baby, and suddenly she's the misunderstood heroine again. Give me a break. They're basically producing a redemption fantasy, and it's dangerous.
You guys, we need to get into next week's episode of Gypsy Rose Blanchard Life After Lockup because, oh my goodness. Take a look at this sneak peek. Oh, Ken does go on to say Aurora is not going to be there, and I just want to give Ken a round of applause. This is what a parent does. If they feel their child is being put in a situation that is not okay, you need to speak up and use your voice and say no. So I just want to give Ken a round of applause for that. I really respect what he said here. My whole thing is I just don't understand why Aurora, the baby, needs to be there. Like, whatever, if Gypsy wants to get like her closure or her last kind of like meet up with Ryan to express anything that she might want to express at this point, which I don't know what else she could express, but anyway.
There are young viewers watching this, thinking she's some kind of inspiration. That's not just tone deaf, it's gross. And let's be real, this entire season of Life After Lockup has just been one long rinse and repeat. Same drama, recycled plot lines with the producers banking on one thing, the finale showdown over who Gypsy's actually with, and more importantly, who Aurora's real dad is.
Everyone has that right, but I just don't understand why she wants Aurora there. Why put her, I know she's a baby, but like why even put her in that situation? Very just odd, in my opinion. Whether you like Ken or not, what he did here is just kudos to him. That's what a parent does. You protect your child. And I just really, truly respect him. And yeah, I just wanted to honestly say that. I just respect his protection of his daughter. I really do. But yeah, that was a sneak peek of next week's episode. So definitely should be interesting, guys.
That's the whole hook. Now, I gotta give a little credit where it's due. Ryan Anderson's trolling game? Chef's kiss. Man might have fumbled the marriage, but he nailed the shade. He recently joked, "Baby came out with a full head of hair." That's what made me start wondering. And I mean, that was definitely a jab at Ken's smooth scalp Urker. Like, ouch.
2 weeks postpartum, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was sending Ryan Anderson selfies and pictures of Aurora. And not just one or two pictures, multiple. So here's a clip from last night's episode. Now, those weren't the only pictures. Those were just the pictures shown in that short clip. So before Gypsy ever sent pictures of Aurora, she sent Ryan a selfie. She sent around 3 photos of Aurora in total, I believe, and then later sends Ryan another selfie from when she went to the Post Malone concert. Just like Gypsy mentioned in her apology video, 2 weeks postpartum, she wasn't feeling emotionally connected to Ken. Gypsy also admits that Ken
Ryan threw that line and just walked away, no explanation needed. Iconic. So here we are, heading into the finale, not to watch some touching family reunion or healing arc, but to find out one thing: whose DNA is swirling around in little Aurora? Is it Ken? Is it Ryan? Or is Lifetime just gonna keep dragging this out into another season of lies, drama, and postpartum plot twists?
Ken didn't know that this was going on right away, but that she eventually told him. Is this why Ken had the reaction he did when Gypsy wanted to go meet with Ryan with Aurora, where Ken threatened to file custody and move to Texas?
So yeah, we're heading into the Life After Lockup finale with yet another Who's the Daddy, cliffhanger. Because apparently, one paternity test wasn't enough. You know, the one that already showed Ken Urker is the dad with a 99.999999% certainty. But Gypsy, in her usual galaxy brain logic, tells Christian Raj something like, well, yeah, it said Ken's the dad, but that tiny 0.000001% still means Ryan could be the father.
Now, Kenan, you can't just take the damn kid from Gypsy. You can't leave us here with Gypsy. You gonna have to take her too. No fucking take-backs, Ken. No take-backs. Kenan, you can't threaten the kid with her like that.
Girl, be serious. At this point, they might as well slap a scripted drama label on this mess, because it couldn't be more fake if it were performed by sock puppets. I told y'all, Ryan's dramatic pillow-throwing meltdown, completely staged, and now we know it's being saved for the finale. Shocking.
What the hell you doing? You gotta behave over there. And if you're gonna go back to Texas, you gotta take the Jupinator. Why the hell did you let her get away with it this long? You gonna have to do something, Kenan. Why the hell is she sending pictures of the baby to Ryan's? That's your whole ass baby. Someone's gonna have to do something. Someone's gonna have to get it together. Gypsy, stop texting my mans. I've been saying this.
Last night's episode just confirmed what we've suspected all along. They're recycling every tiny internet squabble, blowing it up on screen, and serving it to us as drama. You can't convince me that every shade post or petty comment from the last few weeks suddenly lining up with the episode's plot is just a coincidence. They're clearly spoon-feeding the audience this fake tension, also will keep guessing. Whose side is Gypsy on?
Gypsy Rose Blanchard thinks that Ken Urker is about to propose. So Gypsy Rose Blanchard just posted this video reacting to her own television show, the trailer where Ken walks into the jewelry store to look at rings. So she wrote on the screen, "When you find out with the rest of the world, rings? ? Is there something I don't know?"
Whose bed is she crawling into next? Spoiler alert, it's all a ratings game. The back and forths, the fake tears, the maybe Ryan's the dad after all storyline, it's pure reality TV fantasy.
A few things. Gypsy is basically insinuating that she has no idea what's going on in her own television show. It was also filmed in the past, so it wasn't recent, and Ken hasn't proposed so far. And if he were to do that, do you guys think that Lifetime would really ruin that? I mean, if they did, that's pretty shady. And we also know that Gypsy recently unfollowed Ken on social media platforms.
Now, here's my totally non-sarcastic, extremely professional prediction for the finale. Ken Urker, bless his bald little heart, is probably going to propose to Gypsy at the end of the episode. Because why not?
Either the day before Mother's Day or on Mother's Day. She recently did a live stream where she claims that she did that because he made a comment she didn't like. Gypsy Rose Blanchard has no business getting married to Ken anytime soon. It is very obvious that they have a lot that they need to work on.
Nothing says healthy, thriving relationship like emotional affairs, secret DMs, and paternity doubts. Followed by a romantic ring ceremony under Lifetime's soft focus filter. This show is a circus, and these two are just juggling drama for a check.
Everybody already freaking knew that they were going to get engaged too. Of course, Cannon's at the ring shop. You know what I'm saying? Of course. Gypsy made him. It's going to be a happily ever after. Gypsy's going to have the happily ever after she ever freaking wanted with Cannon. He's real nice. Gypsy, best of luck with that.
But let's be real here. Gypsy Rose will never be satisfied until she gets exactly what she wants. A twisted fantasy where she has both men, full custody, and the spotlight. Honestly, just throw in some baby oil, a Dan Glidewell cameo, and you've got yourself a full-blown Diddy party.
I would suggest going back to Ryan's if you could, but I don't think he's going to take it back at this point. I'm not letting him because that was too much. You can't be doing that. You're playing with everybody's emotions at this point. I thought I had Pookie, then I'm losing, and then I'm getting him back. Gypsy, pick one.
If we're being honest, Gypsy might want to explore polygamy at this point, because loyalty is clearly not her strong suit.
Cheating. Prison Princess here. So, does everybody think that Ken and Gypsy are on the fritz? Do you guys think that she is gone too far with her manipulation? I mean, look what we're seeing on the season. She is playing with Ryan's emotions, and he will definitely take her back. There is no doubt about it. He's just pining and waiting for the day that she says it's over between Ken and I. Because I think deep down inside that he knows that it's an obsession and that she needed to get that out of her system, because Gypsy doesn't know real, genuine love and friendships, and love and belonging is human nature, right? And in my opinion, it feels like she needed to get this obsession out of her system, but she locked him down with a baby way too soon, and that, I think, is going to screw everything up.
The grass is always greener, the attention is never enough, and the drama is never ending. And just in case you needed another reminder of how deeply remorseful Gypsy is for murdering her own mother, on Mother's Day no less.
In the upcoming episode, we are seeing that Gypsy is getting upset. She's worried that her daughter isn't going to accept her or forgive her for her past. Now, in this upcoming episode, we are going to see where Gypsy gives birth to Aurora. During this time, we find out that Ryan doesn't want to go to the hospital to sign away that he is not Aurora's father so that Gypsy can have Aurora's last name as Blanchard. However, after a DNA test proved that Ken was the father, they have officially, as Gypsy has announced, that her name has been changed from Anderson to Urker.
Let's take a look at what she had to say when someone asked if she honored Dee this year. In a live stream, Gypsy casually replied, "I wished Christy happy Mother's Day." Christy, the woman she now calls Mom.
Now, on Mother's Day, Gypsy had posted a photo of her baby's foot along with a shirt that says, "You're doing great job, Mama. Happy our first Mother's Day, Gypsy and Aurora." Ken also posted on his Instagram story a photo of Gypsy and Aurora along with a message. Tonight's episode, we are going to be seeing Gypsy become a mother. Just last year, Gypsy was in a rocking chair dedicating a post to her mother, Dee Dee. Run to those comments and give me, guys, your thoughts on these posts.
Didn't even get a post. No caption, no flower emoji, nothing. Then someone asked if she also wished Dee a heavenly Mother's Day, and Gypsy hit us with the coldest response ever. Why would I?
Gypsy Rose said Mother's Day is for her to be acknowledged. Someone wrote, "No Mother's Day post?" Gypsy replied, "No, Mother's Day is going to be a day in which I can be acknowledged as a mother and show my appreciation for the women in my life quietly." Girl. And per the new evidence, the FOIA documents, the only thing she's raised is suspicion. Meanwhile, the woman who gave GRB life didn't get a mention, a whisper, just silence.
That right there says it all. Gypsy isn't surrounded by accountability. She's surrounded by yes men and enablers. From Lifetime producers to Melissa Moore to Mike Stanfield, even her parole officer. They're all in on it. They're cashing in, riding the Gypsy wave, and turning a blind eye while she weaponizes every trauma as a shield. This week, it's postpartum depression. Next week, who knows? Maybe she'll say Mercury was in retrograde.
The baby had Ryan Anderson's last name. And here Gypsy is acting like it's no big deal. Seriously? It must be nice to be Gypsy Rose and just be able to accept these things. Ryan's name was on that birth certificate. Gypsy's daughter was born with Ryan's last name. And she's out here like, well, that's just how it is. We'll accept it. What? And for Gypsy to be out here acting like she's the victim to all of this? With no apology, no accountability, just audacity? Ryan's name was tied to that child.
The point is, there's always an excuse, and her followers will parrot it until they're blue in the face. And the saddest part, that baby, Aurora, is being dragged into it all, used like a pawn in Gypsy's never-ending game of manipulation and media spins. It's disgusting, so to everyone around her, do better, speak up. Quit chasing the bag and start chasing accountability.
Child that wasn't even his. That affects his life. That affects his records, his future relationships, his peace. And what about that baby? One day that baby's gonna grow up to find out her name, her father's name, the last name that she was born with. All of it was all part of a messy, selfish moment her mother created. This isn't just a simple mistake. This is the result of a woman making one chaotic, reckless decision after another, while everyone else, Ryan, Ken, that baby, they all have to live with the fallout. But sure, Gypsy, tell us more about how hard it is for you. At what point are one of these people going to finally hold her accountable?
As for the guys, Ryan Anderson officially wins the title of Biggest Simp Alive. And Ken, he's just Ken. Not even sure what else to say about him at this point.
'Cause y'all, this isn't just drama. This isn't just TV. It's damage. That little girl is going to carry the weight of all of these mistakes. decisions. I'm just saying. There's that.
I don't know about y'all, but after watching the latest episode of Gypsy Rose, Life After Lockup, I'm convinced Gypsy cheated on Ken with Ryan right after having a baby with him. And I'm not just talking about physical cheating. Let's break this down, because cheating isn't just about sex. It's about secrecy, betrayal, and emotional connections that don't belong in your relationship. Most people think cheating is just hooking up with someone behind your partner's back. But honestly, the emotional stuff is even worse. Sleeping with someone can be meaningless to some, but forming a secret emotional bond, that's next level betrayal. It means your heart is already with someone else. And your partner, they're just the placeholder. Now let's bring it back to the disaster that is the Gypsy Ken Ryan love triangle. Gypsy clearly built up and displayed a deep emotional connection with Ryan, her ex-husband, right after giving birth to Ken's child. The timing is insane. Let's rewind. Picture this. Gypsy and Ken have just welcomed their baby into the world. But instead of soaking in that beautiful new chapter together, what does Gypsy do? She sends pictures of her newborn daughter to Ryan. And not just in a look what's new way. Nope. Gypsy sent those pics behind Ken's back. Ryan even confirmed it on the show. On the same day she gave birth, she was sliding into her ex's messages with baby pics like it was nothing.
So it was revealed on last night's episode of Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup that Gypsy was sending her ex-husband Ryan Anderson pictures of her newborn daughter Aurora. And after Gypsy had sent Ryan those pictures of Aurora, she actually went ahead and sent him a selfie of herself. She actually sent a couple of herself. Here we have Ryan showing some of the pictures that Gypsy had sent of Aurora, and he goes on to say that he was trying to figure out if the baby had any of his features. Obviously now we know that Aurora is Ken's daughter, but at the time it was still unknown who officially was the baby daddy. Here we have another picture that Gypsy had sent Ryan after her daughter was born. Gypsy does touch on feeling emotionally distant from Ken at this time. She says that she feels like Ken is physically there but not emotionally. Obviously, in my opinion, I am not surprised by this, especially with the text messages that came out recently of her texting Ryan, just a couple weeks after Aurora was born. So I am not shocked by this at all. Like, the way my jaw stayed in place, like, I wasn't shocked.
And look, I don't care what your definition of cheating is, this is shady AF. You just gave birth and you're already texting your ex secretly? That's not just emotional cheating, it's calculated and cold. But wait, it gets worse. Gypsy wasn't just sending Ryan baby updates. Oh no, she was sending him literal thirst traps. Yep, cleavage out, posing sexy, trying way too hard. And all of it was still behind Ken's back. Ryan even showed the cameras the pics she sent, including ones of her in bed with the baby. Yes, you heard that right. Gypsy was sending photos of her lying in bed with their newborn to her ex-husband. And Ryan, he ate it up. He literally said that he likes Gypsy when she's sleepy and that her photos were melting him.
Definitely noticing a pattern of behavior, in my opinion, when it comes to Gypsy. Basically, if she is on the rocks with one guy, she runs to the other, and vice versa. It is definitely odd to me that she feels comfortable, like, messaging him, like, pictures of a baby that, I mean, let's be real, we've all heard that Aurora looks just like Ken, so I'm sure, like, in her mind, she knew it was probably Ken's baby, and I just find it weird that she was messaging him those. And then, of course, like, the selfies, that's really odd too. I'm just not shocked. Like, I don't even think Ken at this point should be shocked that Gypsy was doing this. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this whole messy situation.
Meanwhile, Ken is over here unknowingly raising a baby with a woman who's emotionally invested in her ex and possibly plotting her next move. So yeah, if you ask me, this wasn't just emotional cheating. This was a full-blown betrayal. Gypsy's loyalty clearly lies with the man who's not in the room, and Ken, he's just playing the role she assigned to him, and honestly, this storyline is so messy. It feels more like a scripted soap opera than real life. But hey, when it comes to Gypsy Rose, real life and reality TV are basically the same thing now.
they don't know each other that well, and they're getting to know each other outside of prison, and it's all coming to fruition. It's all boiling over, and reality setting in, and they're like, maybe we don't like each other that much. You can see the tension, you can see the body language, you can see how uncomfortable they are with their communication, and so on and so on. Ryan really was catered to her needs and her wants and her desires because he genuinely, truly loves her. Ken, I think it's superficial. I think he just wanted a fling. I think he wanted some money. I think he was out for a little fame and get that bag, and boom, it all backfired on him. But I know that Ryan would take her back in a heartbeat and raise that child with her. He does not care. He is madly in love with her. And to me, I think Lifetime is kind of trolling her in a sense and letting the true colors come out, because I heard on a TV show that one of the Playboy girls said, reality TV is all about the drama. They're going to edit the way they want it. They're going to manipulate it the way they want it. They are going to create the drama for the eyes.
All right, let me remind you again. Everything Gypsy was doing with Ryan, it was all happening behind Ken's back. But things only get messier from here. Just 2 weeks after having the baby, Gypsy started airing some serious issues with Ken. She said she felt this emotional distance from him, like he was physically present but emotionally checked out. Ouch, right?
You saw in the first half of that clip that Gypsy's basically telling Ken that she can't do everything herself, and then Ken responds that he does help a lot with the baby, and then Gypsy says, "Oh, I know you do. I'm just saying if you didn't." It's like she's trying to create a fake scenario to cause conflict with Ken, or like she's just not comfortable telling him how she really feels. Even though we know that Gypsy and Ken have gone to couples counseling, it seems like she's continuing to repeat the same pattern. She was with Ryan when she first got out of prison, and Ryan went back to work. Gypsy was lonely and ended up texting Ken. Then when she's postpartum and she's staying at Ken's house, but Ken has inevitably to go back to work, she gets lonely again and then starts texting Ryan. She would get on social media and tell everyone that Ryan Anderson wasn't the one that was allowing himself to move on, that he was constantly texting her, but now we learn that she was texting him. And until she gets this worked out, where she doesn't have this fear of being alone, she's going to continue to have issues in her relationship with Ken.
But here's where it really gets wild. Gypsy said that whenever she feels disconnected from Ken or has problems with him, Ryan is the only one who truly understands her. She claimed she and Ryan have this deep, long-standing bond and that no one else gets her the way he does. If that sounds familiar, it should, because remember in her short apology video to Ryan, she said she loves Ken but called Ryan her comforter, basically the one who gives her emotional support, which is pretty confusing considering she dumped Ryan accusing him of abuse. So, how do you go from Ryan abused me to Ryan is my comfort like it's nothing? The timeline doesn't add up.
Not surprisingly, Gypsy Rose and Ken got into an argument over the whole Gypsy versus Ryan spiral crash out disaster over Jazz Fest weekend. Then Gypsy Rose unfollows Ken on IG. She cleans up her profile, changes her picture to a picture of just herself. Ken cleans up his profile. Not surprisingly, once again, GRB follows him back hours later. And their weekly live covering the show has been canceled. JKR Collection wrote, "They are up to something. Christy had Natasha Cooper release her Mother's Day message from Ken. Seems Christy does these things when they are trying to cover something up." And I completely agree. This is a pattern, that or she jumps on lives and releases some type of crumbs of information or tea.
Back on the show, Ryan was pretty much falling right into Gypsy's trap, melting over her sexy pics, blind to the fact she was using him to fill some emotional void. But at least one of his friends wasn't fooled. He straight up told Ryan, "She's just using you to make herself feel good. You're the one who's going to get hurt in the end." Honestly, you'd think Ryan would have figured that out sooner, especially since Gypsy's used him before. If she's doing it again, well, not the brightest move on his part. That was months ago, though. Now, the mood's shifted big time. Ryan recently went off on Gypsy and even threw her stuff out of his house. That's a good sign he's finally done entertaining her drama.
Obviously, Ken is, I think, embarrassed, humiliated, upset over the fact that Ryan proved they had been texting and the contents of that text. Did Ryan message Ken Urker other texts? We don't know. And I do know Christy is also upset that Gypsy Rose released information about her and Rod being on the verge of divorce. That is solidifying the rumors and information creators had put out about Rod not living there because they were on the verge of divorce. And that was no accident. That was a slight by GRB to Christy. So it looks like GRB is in hot water with just about everyone, including the public, like us and Ryan Anderson.
So, yeah, Ryan's no longer really entertaining Gypsy's drama, or so it seems, but some folks are saying, nah, he's just pretending for the show. They think all those pillows he tossed outside, they're probably right back in the house by now. Honestly, who knows? I'm just curious. Do you think those things he threw out are actually gone for good? Or is it all just an act? Let me know what you think. And speaking of shady moves, the Blanchard crew has been playing some games lately. Just recently, Christy was caught following Ryan on Instagram. And then she immediately unfollowed him when she realized people noticed. That wasn't a glitch. I'm pretty sure something's definitely going on there. Back to the show, Gypsy kept getting emotionally close to Ryan and even wanted to meet him with baby Aurora, supposedly to sort out paternity stuff and have lunch. But that's where Ken drew the line hard. He said, no way. For Aurora to lose the Anderson last name, Ryan had to sign off saying the baby isn't his.
Now we're really seeing the true Gypsy and how manipulative she is. She's spiraling. Just wait till she's off parole. She's going to be out shaking her ass. Like, you know, she's wasting her money. Like, she's ridiculous. And it all goes to show that, like, the choices that she makes and the things that she does are really starting to backfire on her. But her dad said something really wise. He said, you know, the emotional currency that you're giving him is keeping him on, you know, a string. But that's exactly what Gypsy does. She uses her emotional currency to manipulate people and gain what she wants. This is what she does. She even uses her emotions in grifting. And that is very telling. So I just want to know what you guys think. This is all getting super juicy. Do you guys think Ryan will take her back? Because I do. And I think Ken is going to leave her. I don't think there's an engagement ring. I think we would have heard about it already, because what does Gypsy like to do? Gloat and throw it in the public's face. Like, my life is a fairy tale and everything's great. But we all know it's not, because we're literally watching your show.
Gypsy wanted to meet Ryan and baby Aurora to talk it out, but Ken wasn't having it. He gave her a harsh ultimatum. If she met up with Ryan and the baby, he'd go back to Texas and file for custody. Honestly, Ken was totally right. Gypsy was playing way too much here. It just seems like one man isn't enough. She wants Ken for love but keeps Ryan around for comfort. It's wild. So, what do you think about Ken's decision? And what about Gypsy's sneaky behavior behind Ken's back with Ryan?
So this video is directly for Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I want to ask you something, Gypsy. Do you remember this? This right here. Remember, Gypsy? Remember whenever you got Bree to share the screenshots that Ryan Anderson was sending you and saying that you're beautiful as a brunette, etc., just to prove that you weren't messaging him and that it was always him reaching out? But how is it sacred now whenever he shares yours? Like I said, it's not sacred when you did it first. Not only that, it's not sacred when you were doing stuff behind Ryan's back, talking to Ken the whole time, gaslighting him and making him look like a fool on your TV show. Okay? Now, as always, you want to play the victim. Poor Gypsy, poor Gypsy. We no longer believe that, Gypsy. You are not a victim.
Drop your thoughts. Now, let's check out what other people thought about this episode. One fan said Gypsy clearly wants Ken, but misses the attention Ryan gave her. Another pointed out that when everyone called Ryan weird for clinging to hope and not moving on, it was because Gypsy was breadcrumbing him all along. Narcissists always keep their options open. They circle back to old partners when the new one doesn't work out. Other comments were straight fire. Cheaters need to be called out. If I were Ken, I'd be mad as hell. She's just keeping a backup man in case things don't work out with Ken.
And you keep playing this victim role that you are not. And I really hope karma gets to you. Maybe this was a tiny, tiny bit of karma because of what you did before that. Because you released Ryan's sacred messages first. So, oh well if he did that. Oh well. And I am so thrilled that it's still up there. And I hope he does not take it down. He's probably busy this week. He probably hasn't even got online because he has a real job, unlike you and Ken. So, good luck to you, and I hope karma gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger for you. Boo boo.
It's so sad how someone can string a person along like that. Brian himself has been saying on his live streams that Gypsy texts him, making him question if the baby is even his. Now, people are definitely believing Ryan more. I gotta say, I love how Lifetime's showing this. Gypsy's fans have been calling Ryan out for not moving on, but all along, she was low-key stringing him along. Her constant need for attention is the real problem.
So Lifetime outed GRB as texting Ryan this whole time. And speaking of, somebody made a post about GRB and the baby, and this is what she commented. You just know she is furious tonight. And I bet you she was probably told the context of the show tonight, and that's why she's not going live. Not to mention, her and Ken had a huge argument over the whole thing, over the text message Ryan put out, and finding out that she was texting him. Ken is just really embarrassed right now. It's just been a complete show. Y'all, the tea is steaming hot. Stay tuned for more updates.
When Ken and her family aren't around giving her attention, and she's alone with the baby, she can't handle it. She likes being catered to. But now, she has to cater to a baby instead. If my boyfriend found out I was doing this after I had his baby, OMG, if Ken isn't fuming right now, he don't love.
I know everything's playing out in real time, Gypsy. I know it was rough. You're postpartum, you just had the baby, feelings were all over the place. Of course you were going to be upset about me and Ryan's at 2 a.m. We're not faulting you for that. You're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to have all the feelings you want and need. We just want to see you live and thrive. I know Ryan's didn't want to take it to Taylor Swift and he would have taken me. I'm so sorry for that. Gypsy, I just want to say I'm sorry we threw your pillars out the window and I brought them back in, okay?
Woo, this whole situation is just messy. Between the baby drama, the emotional cheating, and the constant back and forth between Ken and Ryan, it's clear Gypsy's love life is more complicated than a Lifetime script. Oh wait, but seriously, whether you're Team Ken, Team Ryan, or just Team This Baby Deserves Peace, one thing's for sure, Gypsy's actions are stirring up way more questions than answers. Is she genuinely confused? Or is she just playing the game for attention and sympathy? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to keep up with all the wild updates in the Gypsy Rose drama, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you don't miss a single twist. I'll see you in the next one. Stay messy, stay curious, and stay tuned.